Breaking right now, new video footage finally proves that Meghan Markle purposefully broke the biggest rule of royal protocol shamefully during her first engagement with the late Queen.
Meghan Markle, an outsider who shook the royal family to its core. But was it all just a misunderstanding, or did she intend to follow royal rules in the first place? Well, buckle up, because today I'm diving into the moments that prove Meghan Markle may have been the Queen all along. And trust me, the evidence is shocking.
This is something that the Duchess of Sussex has denied for some time. But look at this. And then we'll get analysis from P. Dinah. P. Dinah, to me, looking at this bombshell new footage, it is very, very clear that she ignored the official advice. She decided to walk in front of the late Queen Elizabeth II. We know there were so many other terrible things that she did on that day, refusing to allow the late Queen to get into the car first, refusing to wear a hat, even though that had been requested specifically by the late Queen's lady-in-waiting. And I think it just shows that Meghan always had a disdain for the British royal family.
Yeah, I think it points to a bigger problem, and that problem is Megan doesn't want to take direction. She wants to do things the way she wants to do them. And I think this is why I've always tried to think, well, what does this really mean? When you see her disrespecting the protocols of the royal family, disrespecting the Queen, not wearing a hat. I mean, I pointed out to a friend of mine, she didn't wear a hat, and my friend tried to make light of it, like, oh, well, she didn't wear a hat. But no, you have to look at, well, what does that really mean? If you can't follow simple instruction, if you refuse to do these things, what does it mean later down the road when you're asked to do other things and you can't follow these small, simple instructions?
From the very start, Meghan seemed to struggle with royal protocol. Walking of the Queen, breaking dress code at official events, even refusing to wear royal tiaras when expected. These weren't just mistakes. They were clear signals that Meghan wasn't willing to play by the royal rulebook. Let's talk about wedding.
It means that you won't probably ever do things that people want you to do. You made a choice. You married into this family, Meghan. So you agreed to do the things that were expected of you as someone marrying into the royal family. So what it told me is that from the very beginning, Meghan was never going to adhere to anything that was expected of her. She was going to use this as an opportunity to help herself in her own career. And it was just a stepping stone to what she really wanted to do. And that was to leave the royal family and to use her exposure to brand herself later. And that's what she did. And so, I think it's a really good insight to someone and who they are deep down to their core. You can't follow these simple instructions. You're just not a very good person that really wants to do the right thing. And that's what I think people should really be upset at. Don't look at the little small things that she didn't do. Look at the big picture. And what we can see is it panned out. We can see that she is not the kind of person to respect people. I mean, I can only imagine what is happening in her relationship now with Harry. You can't respect the Queen. I know you surely are not respecting your husband and the things that he may be going through right now, because I can tell you right now, he's going through a lot. There's a lot going on, and this marriage is finding tension. And you could tell just by that video right there, this is a woman who is going to make problems for her husband as she did for the royal family. That's what it told me.
Yeah, big time, big time. I mean, just going back to the details of the trip, because this was the first and only time there was ever an engagement between Meghan, a solo engagement between Meghan and the late Queen. It absolutely was an attempt by the monarch to show, I'm up for this. We welcome you. You can have all of this advice from Lady Susan Hussey. But it was very, very obvious soon after. And remember, the late Queen was speaking all the time.
Remember when Meghan demanded an emerald tiara, one the Queen refused to let her wear? Sources say Meghan behind closed doors. And let's not forget the infamous Kate Middleton crying incident over bridesmaid dresses. Royal insiders claim Meghan was determined to do things, even if it meant disrespecting royal traditions.
To her key aides, and it became very obvious that Meghan wasn't playing ball. But what's quite fascinating, and remember, this was a relatively mundane trip. It was in Cheshire, and they were opening a new bridge. But the Daily Mail has actually employed the lip-reading expert Jackie Press to reveal what was said between Meghan and the royal staff while she was walking in front of the late Queen. And what's interesting is that an aide says to Meghan, "Do you want to come down?" And then when Meghan is addressing the crowd, she actually says to Meghan, "This way, please," and gestures with her hand in the direction to walk ahead. So Meghan was being guided. She was being told every step of the way what to do, and she ignored it. Then there was another moment where Meghan took flowers and wanted to hold on to flowers. And again, that might sound like a small thing, but actually, royal protocol makes clear that when you are handed flowers, you pass them back to your private secretary or personal assistant so they can be properly displayed, but also checked for safety reasons. But the point that has been made by royal courtiers here, P. Dinah, is that the flowers were for the late Queen. They weren't for Meghan, and Meghan was only receiving them because she had walked in front of the Queen. Now, all of this, right, sounds quite small fry. However, it does show the lack of respect, and it does show that she ignored the direction and guidance that she was being given on the day because it was the Meghan Markle show. And so she didn't want a hat because she wanted her beautiful hair out. She didn't want to have to walk behind the late Queen because why should she have to? She's a proud feminist woman.
While the Queen lived by the motto of service and duty, Meghan and Harry were living it up, flying on while preaching about climate change. The Queen always led by example, choosing commercial flights whenever possible, but Meghan? She didn't seem to care about following in those royal footsteps. Then came the Oprah interview.
Yeah. And it just shows how she's so eager to get the spotlight. She's just like so anxious, doesn't want to listen, walking in front of the Queen. I mean, I cannot understand how you are so bold to just disregard the things that are being said to you. That tells you so much about the mindset of someone like this. And so when like Narendra was talking about how she's just so kind and sweet and this woman has the audacity to disrespect the Queen of England and understanding like what the Queen has done and accomplished in her life, and you're disrespecting this person. That one move right there shows you this is not a nice person. Okay, so she knew what she was supposed to do. She had people guiding her. She even didn't want to even take instruction from some of the other people that the Queen wanted to advise her. I think her equerry person that was a black man that she was just like,
Yes.
oh, I don't want him. So she doesn't want to take direction. So how can people say she's a really nice person and humble and all these things? Look to what she actually is doing to understand that this is why we don't really like her, because of her disrespect for a country, the Queen, the people. I mean, the list goes on and on. Her father, her family. Really?
Totally.
People need to just wake up.
Totally. And the thing that's so interesting as well is they then, and to me, this is so awful. Harry and Meghan both then attempted to use that day, right, for positive PR to try and prove that the late Queen was behind Meghan. So you'll remember that Harry wrote of the day in Spare, that Meghan returned from the trip glowing, and she said, the Queen and I really bonded. And Harry wrote, because, Harry kept nothing back, did he? Had no idea of class or dignity and what you share or don't share. And he said, we talked about how much I wanted to be a mom. And she told me the best way to induce labor was a good bumpy car ride. I told her I'd remember that when the time came. A private discussion. That was a private discussion. You do not reveal what the late Queen told you in a private discussion. And then Meghan, in the interview in 2021, said we were in the car going between engagements, and she, referring to the late Queen, has a blanket that sits across her knees for warmth, and it was chilly. And she was like, Meghan, come on, and put it over my knees as well. And it made me think of my grandmother, where she's always been warm and inviting and really welcoming. So the point is, it was just another PR exercise, wasn't it? And
Yes.
it's also worth pointing out that the late Queen had offered Meghan the help of the Duchess of Edinburgh too, Sophie Wessex. And that was turned down because Meghan says, oh, I have my Harry. I don't need anything else. Well, look at how that went. Didn't really work out, did it?
A direct on the monarchy. Instead of handling things privately, Meghan and Harry aired out royal family secrets on global television. And while the Queen famously responded with her iconic statement, the damage was already done.
And then go on Oprah and say that there was no help, there was nothing. Like the blatant lies of this woman should be enough for people to wake up to who she is. For me, Megan is just one of those kind of people that is really showing you who she is. And like they say, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Okay, why can't people believe that Megan is this kind of person? I don't understand it because, like I said before, you wouldn't accept this behavior in your own family. You wouldn't allow someone to disrespect someone like you're the head of your family, your matriarch. You wouldn't allow it. So why do they think that the royal family should just, go with it? No, I think Megan has done so many things that we can see that are not acceptable. She lies. And the reality is Megan needs to atone for all the things that have happened. And she needs to really feel the backlash that people are giving her right now because it is very much warranted, is justified, because people don't want to see the disrespect of the Queen. I mean, it just is common sense to me, right? I don't understand why people, and also going to your point about the blanket and the Queen, like she could not wait to exploit her relationship with the Queen. She was like, oh, I'm going to tell people about this moment. She couldn't wait. I'm sure she went back and took notes. And Harry, for that matter, should have known better. He should have known not to put these little conversations with the Queen in his book for money. Look, Meghan has gotten Harry to sell out his grandmama, right? So how bad is this? Like, you cannot think this is okay, right? I just find it despicable behavior what Megan has done. She has shown us who she is. Everyone believe her who she is.
None of this is working though, P. Dinah, because I'll show you this from an influencer who has crunched the numbers, and this is based on massive surveys taken all over the world. And it reveals who the most loved and the most hated celebrities in all the world are. Watch this.
Most hated celebrities. So the most loved celebrities, according to online surveys and polls, are Morgan Freeman in the 3 spot, Denzel Washington at the 2, and the number 1 overall being Keanu Reeves. Notably, the top 2 don't have any social media. On to the most hated, though, and Elon Musk and Kanye West are actually tied right outside of the top 5 at the number 6 spot, coincidentally due to their respective content they share on X. The 5th most hated celebrity is actually Amber Heard, still carrying the hate from her legal showdown with Johnny Depp a few years back. Number 4 is Ellen DeGeneres because of her fostering of an alleged toxic workplace environment, leading to her departure of her show a couple years back. The 3rd most hated celebrity is actually Jake Paul due to his controversial online persona and boxing antics that's really stirred up the sports world. In the 2 spot, we have Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, because of her perceived victimization of herself and role in deepening the rift between the royal family and Prince Harry. But finally, the most hated celebrity in the entire world right now is P. Diddy, for obvious reasons.
So P. Dinah, only P. Diddy. Only P. Diddy is less popular. Oh, and by the way, before she tries to turn this into a race thing, and I think this is why it was important that I also showed the 3 most loved celebrities in the world, because look at number 2 and number 3. Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman. So don't tell me it's a race thing, Meghan. Do you see what I mean? Because that's what she would usually try and do.
Was this Meghan's final move in a long game of rejecting royal tradition? So, what do you think? Was Meghan Markle always planning to break free from the royal family, or was she just misunderstood? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that button and for more royal revelations. Until next time, stay tuned for more truth bombs.